evening, Raider fans, and this is the Raider Nation podcast. I'm your host, Raider Greg, and yes, I am back on the air. Back from back surgery, that is. And let me tell you, if you don't have to do it, don't, because it sucks. I am in a 1 to 10 scale of pain, about a 9.9. They cut me from the front to the back like a fish. Enough about me. I'm glad to be back on the show, and I couldn't wait to get back to the fans, because I know you need your Raider fix. This evening's show will be on Randy Moss and marijuana. What a joke that is. Papa comes to Houston. Buddy Ryan visits his son. A little stint here about Sam Williams. Lamont Jordan, what he feels about his game on the when he played the 49ers. An injury report, and, of course, the 49ers game. Let's start out this evening with HBO's weak attempt to slam or to bash Randy Moss in a tired attempt of HBO with poor ratings already to try to get some kind of ratings. They crashed his story about Randy Moss and marijuana and what he said, and I wasn't there to hear it, and not many people were. But the HBO interviewer entrapped, I'm sure, Randy Moss in talking about the mean green. Now, Raider fans, I just want you to realize, I mean, if you haven't noticed, it's 2005, and how many people have been caught in sports smoking the green herb? More than I'm sure have been let out in the media. However, any attempt to bash our man Randy Moss, is just another attempt to do just that. Another Bay Area HBO affiliate trying to get their input or their, ratings up on Randy Moss. Now, my last podcast talked about where Randy Moss came from. It was actually titled, Put Yourself in His Shoes. And Raider fans, I want you to do that. As a matter of fact, if you would listen to the last show, you'll get a grip on who Randy is and where he came from. He is not a slick city guy, and he's not, he's getting educated, I'm sure, along the way about how the media likes to twist and turn things and how they like to make questions appear. It's an art to interview, and these guys have it down, let me tell you. And they can entrap anybody in most anything, unless you have a plethora or a bunch of media guys out there watching your back. Now, they've done damage control. I'm sure Randy did smoke marijuana. I mean, big deal. I mean, let's look at it really, folks. How many people in the United States do smoke marijuana? Now, is it the number one death drug of choice? No, we got meth, we got coke, we got all kinds of other, we got all kinds of chemical drugs out there. And I'm not saying that it's good, and it's not good for the youth, and it's not good. But I will say this, it's a lot safer and less harmful than alcohol. And that's a fact. And that's coming right from me. Now, I'll tell you, Raider fans, that Randy Moss is a simple guy. He's not complex. And he just got caught up in, trying to be honest. His mistake, and it's a shame that the Bay Area media is attacking our star. But you know what? I'm sure it's going to roll right off his back like anything else, and we need to support Randy Moss. And I'm kind of pissed off, but you know what? I'm kind of used to it too because, well, Raider fans, we all know in the Bay Area and across the country how the Bay Area media is. And this is just another example of how they are, and until they see the Oakland Raiders in action during regular season, and even then, even if we're winning, we always get the what ifs and, they're lucky. And so, as a fan, just stand proud, defend our Randy Moss, and you know what, Randy Moss, from the Raider Nation podcast, we got thumbs up to you, man. You just keep catching that ball, and don't worry about these geeks at HBO, because that's exactly what they are. And that is enough about that. As you can say, I'm a little bit heated, and I'm a little bit weak, too, from this surgery. So bear with me on the show, folks. Okay, the 49er game, the 21-13 loss. Yes, we're all eating crow. The Bay Area, all the Raider fans, we're sure we were going to win. And you know what? We would have won. Our first string looked awesome. We gained tremendous yardage. Kerry Collins was 8 of 12 for 68 yards. Tui was 10 of 16 for 126 and 1 interception. I wasn't real happy with Tui's performance, but Walters I was really happy with. 13-24, 131 yards, 1 TD. He did have 2 interceptions, but this is a rookie, Raider fan. So Johnny Morant looked good, 4 catches for 76 yards. And the problems we're having here is the same kind of problems we had last year was our red zone. We're not able to get the ball in when we're in the red zone. Now, Raider fans, I don't want you to get freaked out or worried because this was an exhibition game. We didn't play all our cards. We won't play them all the 4 games of the preseason. You're going to see bits and pieces of brilliance out of the Raiders. Until we start playing the Raiders regular season, don't expect a whole lot out of the win column. I want you all to remember that last season, the New England Patriots lost to the Bengals 31-7. They got pummeled. It was a big deal. They thought, oh gosh, the dynasty is over. And look what happened. They won the Super Bowl. So let's not put a whole lot of water in this bucket because it is full of holes. Now, Rob Ryan admitted last season that he played his cards too early and all the other teams saw his defensive scheme early. So don't expect for them to put all their cards. So I just want you not to be discouraged. I know that I had to eat a lot of crow too, so what else is new? All I want to say to you is when you listen to a 49er fan go on about how they beat the Raiders, just say, hey, which team looked better? You know what? Alex Smith looked like shit. He didn't look very good at all. Dorsey looked much better than he did, and he didn't play that well. The 49ers got lucky on a couple of plays, and that's what it was. Now, that's the way it is in the NFL anyways. You know, you can lose a game during the regular season on a couple of lucky plays. However, I just want you fans to know that this 49ers loss in the preseason was no big deal. I was very happy to see them play. They played very well and very controlled. They controlled the ball well. They worked the Niners over in the first quarter of the game, and you could see the ball was moving with rhythm. And let me tell you, that will segue me right into my next story, and that is Lamont Jordan's performance in the game. This guy showed awesome control, and could you believe the power and the bull rush this guy has? First play of the game, 8 yards, right by Langston Skywalker, and boom, big hole, 8-yard gain. We controlled the ball on the ground much better than the 49ers. They were very weak. They looked like us last year. Now also, Lamont Jordan, did you notice his catches? He had 8. He got the ball 8 times for 35 yards, and he wasn't even trying. Now, the critics show that, you know, of course, the Bay Area critics have said that he won't make over 1,000 yards this year. Tyrone Wheatley and Amos Airway last year combined for 765 yards, and it was pathetic, and we all know that. Now, Randy Moss has the best hands I have seen come out of the Raiders' backfield in a long, long time. This guy catches the ball on the run and makes it happen. You see how quick he is? Now, they question him being able to carry the ball 35 to 40 times a game. I think he is primed. I think he is ready. And you just watch and see. Now, we're going to play the Houston Texans, and I don't care if we win or not. You know, the preseason is exactly that, the preseason. It's for our guys, our young players, to get some experience. It's not about winning or losing, even though we'd like to win. It's about seeing how our players do and showing the young guys what it's like to be on the gridiron for the first time in the real heat of battle. Now, of course, we got tight ends Courtney Anderson and Teo Johnson, who didn't even get a chance because Lamont was catching all the balls and making it happen. Now, we got Damian Tomlinson in San Diego. We got Priest Holmes in Kansas City. And we got whoever the runner du jour for the Broncos coming up this year. We should have... Those are awesome running backs. Now, Denver always has a good running back. And guess what, AFC West? We have arrived because our running back is awesome. Not to mention the tenacious and most ready to play Zach Crockett. Zach Crockett is money, Raider fans, and you know that. Because when it was a 1 or 2 yards, 3 yards, sometimes even 5 yards, Zach Crockett, without an offensive line, would make it. 4 times, the last 4 games last season, they used him as running back, and he created more yards than the other 2 guys did the entire year. So you have to understand that Zach Crockett came in, they got Lamont Jordan on that trade, and Zach didn't get even a chance last season to show his potential as a running back. He was a fullback, and that's what they used him for. We have not only Lamont Jordan, but we have money man Zach Crockett. Our running game this year will be awesome, mark my words. And as far as the 49ers go, we'll see what happens in the season, you 49er geeks, because the Raiders will definitely have a much better season than the 49ers. Okay, let's move on here. Sam Williams. Okay, well, Sam Williams, linebacker for the Raiders, his third season with the Raiders, has never panned out as a linebacker. This guy, we have replaced everything in his every joint in his body almost surgically. He has been injured more than Justin Fargas. Sorry, my mind isn't working so well right now. I am on heavy medication. But this guy's been injured a lot. His best season was last year, and that wasn't very good. He was always the weak link in the Raiders' defense, and, quite frankly, I'm glad to see him go. Okay? He needs to get out, he needs to go, and now that he has a torn ACL, he's going to be put on injury reserve. He won't play for the rest of the year, and I'm sure that the Raiders will drop him like a hot potato at the end of the season. But that gives rise to Grant Irons, which I have always touted as a very talented young linebacker, and he is aggressive and ready to play. This guy is insanely huge, and he's a strong dude. And Kirk Morrison, let's not forget about him, who got plenty of playing time and who will continue to see playing time. Those 2 men right there are going to be the ones to replace Sam Williams, and I'm sure Sam won't be missed too much because those 2 players together will garner many more tackles than Sam ever has in his last 3 years. And that's all I got to say about Sam Williams because he's gone. Okay, joint practices with the Texans. Seems to be kind of the thing to do this season. All the other NFL teams are doing joint practices with other teams. Seems to be good because it's showing the younger players a different set of defenses, a different set of offenses, and also showing different players. Because, when you start playing against your own team, when you're practicing with your own team, you know who runs what and who does what and their little ins and outs. And after a while, after 16 games, after 16 practices, you start to know, who's good, who's bad, and you start to kind of relax a little bit. This is a really good thing for the Raiders. They used to do it with the Dallas Cowboys, and they stopped doing it for a while, for a couple of seasons, and I'm glad we're back at it because this is really good for the young players, and it's good for them to see different schemes, and more than that, different players. That's the key for learning, and the learning curve in the NFL, you ain't got much time, let me tell you. When it's time for you to get on the field, you got to get on and make it happen. And we've got a lot of good guys. We've got a lot of good young players, especially on our defensive squad. And we're ready to play. And we're going to be really ready to play after this preseason game. It's just going to get better and better and better. Okay. Papa comes to town. Well, I guess Rob Ryan must have paid for his papa. I know he did because it was in the article. Rob Ryan pays for his dad's ticket to fly to Houston from Tennessee and watch the Raiders practice and watch his defense. Now, there wasn't a whole lot in the article about his dad being real interested because, I'm sure his dad's out of the coaching game and hasn't really said much about much publicly because his son hasn't said shit for 12 months. And, we were 30th in the league in defense last year. I can guarantee you that Papa Ryan schooled his son last summer in how to keep his mouth shut and to run a defense. Rob Ryan's defenses were pretty awesome. He had a very attack-minded defense. His schemes were very attack-minded and did very, very well, especially when he was with the Bears on the defensive side of the ball. With Coach Ditka, they did have quite a fiery relationship. But Rob Ryan's defense with the Bears Super Bowl team, well, you saw what happened there, right? Rob Ryan is a very, very young defensive coordinator. He will do better. And if he takes any lessons from his papa, this season we will have a very attack-oriented defense. Now, we did pretty good against the Niners in our defense, but we didn't show all our cards. That was one of the things that Rob Ryan did say in the Combine this year to, let's see, who was he? Who did he say? Well, he said to somebody, I can't remember who it was. Pardon me, I'm on very heavy medication. And he did say that he gave up his schemes early in the preseason, and maybe that's an excuse. I don't know. I'm not a defensive coordinator. However, I am a fan of the game, and it didn't seem like our defense had much gas. Raider fans, this season we will have the gas and we will have the horsepower to make it happen. Okay, injury report. I don't know if you all know this, but Shane Lechler is injured. And that blows me away because he is probably the best punter we have ever had besides, of course, the should be a Hall of Fame Ray Guy. He pulled a hamstring, and I guess he must have done a pretty good job of it because the Raiders went out and signed Gary Cook and Bronce Benson as kickers, backup kickers. They got rid of Jordan Hicks, an offensive lineman, to make room in the lineup. So, they had to keep so many players on the field. So Jordan Hicks is out, and we got these two young players in. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we already saw Gary Cook punt. Now, I was surprised because I wasn't aware at that time that Shane Lechler was hurt. But he was, and he is, and he got a hamstring, and those hammies, they're not good because, Porter got a hamstring problem too. But Porter will be at camp along with Ronald Curry, not at camp, but we'll be at the Texans training. Along with Ron Curry, they'll be doing light training, and that's about that. Well, Raider fans, that's about all I have left in me for this show. I'm sorry that it's not as crisp as most shows I have, but I'm doing my very best here from my bed in my room. I'm stitched up from stem to stern. I want to thank you fans for tuning in. I want to thank you for being fans of the Raider Nation podcast. I also want to encourage you to tune in to the show because it will continue to improve as I continue to heal. I'd like you to check out my site because Randy's doing a great job at www.raidernationpodcast.com. Boy, that was a medicated moment for sure. Please look at my site. Randy's done an awesome job. Please keep sending the emails of support. I appreciate them greatly, and we'll continue with our quest for the Super Bowl here at the Raider Nation Podcast, where you will get your Raider fix wherever you may be. Now, Raider fans, no matter where you are in the country or out of the country, I will continue to serve up Raider news, no matter how I feel. Trust me, this is my quest and this is my job. And I find it very, very rewarding, and I hope you enjoy the show. So, Until next time, Raider fans, have a good evening and go Raiders.